So the medieval time period is definitely one of my favorite ones, and especially when it comes to video games. And especially in the last decade, more and more developers really decided to create more and more medieval games. And in medieval games, you always have a lot of freedom of what you can do. You know, the open world is definitely a very nice thing, because it's always great to discover past time periods that we obviously aren't able to explore otherwise. And so I decided to put up a list of games which are the best medieval games for me. Now, note that some games are more realistic while others are more fantastical, but every game would kind of be categorized in the medieval times. So we start the list off with Kingdom Come: Deliverance. And now this game is almost 6 years old, and it's definitely one of the more realistic ones on this list. And what I really like about this game, that it starts off, you know, where your life is just as basic as it comes. You know, you are not a chosen one, you don't have any special abilities, you're just a basic man in Bohemia going on a revenge mission. And the open world of the game is definitely a sight to see, because especially after I researched more about the developers and the creation of the game, I realized that I put a very big focus on actually being medievally accurate. I mean, to be fair, medievally isn't even a word, but you know what I mean, let's just make it one. And discovering the world of Bohemia is definitely very enjoyable. For me, the game got quite boring after some time, but in general I have to say that I had a very good experience in Kingdom Come: Deliverance, and I'm very confident in putting it on this list. So number 9, we've got The Witcher 1. And while the game is over 15 years old now, I mean, think about that, 15 years old. I mean, it's just crazy to think about that a game like that is as old as 15 years. And I deliberately chose The Witcher 1 over The Witcher 2 on that list, because in The Witcher 1 I feel like this medieval flair is way better portrayed than in the second Witcher title. And especially Vizima, you know, when I think about a medieval city, I mostly think about a city like that. You know, from everything, from the people to the pubs to the music, it just feels like a proper medieval game. And I already made a review about the game on my channel, and even though it's over 15 years old, it still holds up extremely well, even in 2023. And in Horizon we obviously got the remake that is coming out in the next couple of years, and I'm very excited to visit the world of The Witcher 1, which was so great in 2008, you know, with this modern new gen technology in The Witcher 1 remake. So number 8, we have Motown. Now, while from the outside this game seems just like a crazy battle simulator, while playing the game I actually had incredibly much fun. I feel like most kids, myself obviously included, somewhere down the line had a dream of being a knight, you know, with a shield and a helmet, and Motown pretty much allows you to do that as an adult. Because it's basically just fighting yourself through other players, and the locations in the game definitely add to it being on that list. And for me, especially the Horde mode, which includes like 60 people, is pretty much just a full-on war in medieval times. It's definitely the most abstract game on the list, but it's definitely worth a try. So number 7 on this list, surprise surprise, we have Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And now listen guys, personally when it comes to Assassin's Creed, Valhalla definitely ranks in the lower half for me as well. But this list is especially about open world medieval games. And when you think about the open world of the game, you really have to say that it does have some outstanding locations. You know, the massive land of England is definitely something that you should explore at least once in your life. And while I definitely didn't like the game under, you know, this Assassin's Creed perspective, and I think that the world was way too big and it got very tiring quite easily, I feel like England and Norway still have a great base and a great idea of what an open world should be. And if I'm being totally honest, if this game wouldn't be an Assassin's Creed game, I would have liked it way more. You know, the huge battles, the raids or the sieges are definitely a part that I won't forget, and what would make this game a great medieval title. But obviously, this being an Assassin's Creed game, I mean, it kind of ruined the game for me, because if they would have done the game as a separate title, I would have liked it way more in my opinion. And if they would have cut down the size of the open world and, you know, focused more on the quality than on quantity and on the sheer size, an aspect that I talked about a lot in my Assassin's Creed Mirage videos, then this game would have definitely had the potential to become something special. But obviously it is what it is, but still under the perspective of an open world medieval game, I was quite happy to put it down on that list, because I still had a great time, especially in the beginning, and after 10 hours or so I didn't want to play anymore, but still, the open world is definitely a part that you should have discovered in a video game. So number 5 on the list is a Middle-earth Shadow of War. And guys, for me, The Lord of the Rings is a perfect example of taking the concept of medieval times and putting it into a fantastical scenario. And obviously, while being a huge Lord of the Rings fan, I played the game immediately after it came out in 2017. And the two Middle-earth titles are definitely games that I will also review in the upcoming year, because it's been over half a decade since I played them. But I remember liking Shadow of War a little bit more than Shadow of Mordor, to be honest. You know, with building our own army with monsters from Mordor, and a big upgrade when it came to the open world compared to Shadow of Mordor, which was, you know, for the earlier gen of consoles. Shadow of War really impressed me quite much, and the sieges in the game were also very well made, and while playing the game, us players felt like epic warriors from the Lord of the Rings movies, you know, just taking on everything and everybody. So Middle-earth Shadow of War definitely deserves a place on the list. Now in 4th place on the list is probably one of my favorite survival titles of all time, and it's Medieval Dynasty from 2020. And similarly to Kingdom Come Deliverance, what I really love about the game that it focuses on the simple life of the ordinary human being. You know, you really follow the role of a common man, and you get to build your own village, build relationships, have a family. And while I'm definitely not the biggest fan of survival games in particular, this one definitely made me spend a lot of time in it. And you know, in the game we start out with absolutely nothing, and we learn skills over time as we build, as we grow, as we develop our village. And building community in medieval times was definitely a great task and made this game really enjoyable, which is why it takes place number 4 on the best open world medieval games. So now you're getting close to the top of the list, and on number 3 we have Elden Ring. And now guys, I have to admit, and I'm really sorry to say that, I didn't play Elden Ring at all. And I know it's been out almost 2 years, but I had so many other games that I was playing that Elden Ring kind of sneaked by. But you know what I heard and seen from the game definitely has to be in the top 3, and I will play the game 100%. And you know, it would also make a great video, you know, saying Elden Ring 3 years after release. I mean, it sounds great, and I have to play the game. I mean, even now in particular, after Elon Musk himself said that it was one of his favorite games of all time. So I'm sorry, I can't tell much about the game, but it just had to be in the list, because from what I hear it has to be incredible. So don't you worry, you can definitely give me your opinion down in the comments, whether you would recommend it to me or whether your experience was different. But Elden Ring is definitely a game that I had to include on that list, obviously. So now the second best open world medieval game is The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. And it's crazy to say, but I've played this game almost a decade ago now, and it was incredible. And to be fair, the game is really hard to beat when you really break it down. I mean, even when we think about the beginning of the game, immediately killing a dragon, I mean, just to mention that here. And you know, the open world of Skyrim is also an example for other games, and I feel like the 5th installment of the series definitely was a benchmark for other open world titles. And now, even while talking about the game, I really want to play it again, so don't worry if you see a video in the future with, you know, talking about the Skyrim game. And now the best medieval open world game, in my opinion, is obviously The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. You know, I already made a video about talking why The Witcher 3 is my favorite game of all time, and I'm pretty certain to say that I will not play a game again like The Witcher 3. I know the game is almost 10 years old. I mean, shit, that's crazy when you think about things like that. Almost 1 decade since The Witcher 3 came out. I mean, time really flies. I'm getting quite nostalgic here, what the fuck? So The Witcher 3, you know, from everything, from the story to the open world to, I have to point out, the side quests of the game. It literally is a masterpiece of a game. And if I was to only play one game forever, I would definitely pick The Witcher 3. Now, the open world perfectly mixes up medieval times with fantastical aspects. in the game your choices matter, you actually feel like you're progressing, and the game is just a great experience for every open world enjoyer out there. And I already thought about Skyrim or The Witcher 3, but I still have to say that even under the aspect of open world and medieval, I have to pick The Witcher 3 as the best game of this list. And obviously, a topic like that is very personal, and almost everybody will create a different top 10 list, so I'm very interested in seeing your lists and what you think is the best open world medieval game. Now this was my first video like that, where I put down a list of games that I liked. My focus will definitely be on videos on, you know, one game or comparing two games, but you can tell me your opinion on the video down in the comments. And yeah, that was it from me in today's video, guys. I hope you have an amazing day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.